The Islamic movement has one objective, and that's to impose Sharia on everybody on the planet. If you don't know that or you don't agree with that, you're wrong.
How you guys doing? This is Sahar TV, and in today's video we'll see a former FBI agent speaking out against the real threat of the United States, Islam. Before we watch the video, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and help us grow the community. Let's take a look.
So the topic I'm here to talk about is very serious. And I'm going to talk about the threat, what is actually going on, give it some depth, and then talk about what I believe is the most important part, and that's how to win. How to win the war and what you can do as patriots to get involved. Does that sound like something that would be nice to know? So I just want to fill in a little bit about how did I even end up getting here. After I left the Marine Corps, which I never thought I would do, I felt called into service in the government, and I went to the FBI. And shortly after 9/11, I was moved over to the counterterrorism division at the Washington field office in DC. But through a series of investigations and some things that I worked on or projects that I led, I came to see there was a massive organized jihadi movement here in the United States. And as I uncovered it, I saw that all of the major Islamic organizations in the United States were a part of this. And that didn't make sense to me, but as it turned out, that was exactly what was going on. And as I started looking at it, we saw that these jihadi groups, and I'm talking about guys that are up on Capitol Hill and working inside the government, they were working with communist organizations like Answer and Code Pink and Communist Party USA, and today with others, and we'll talk about that. And so I started working with other agents around the country and training them. And what ended up happening was they didn't understand that there was this movement going on, and they were shutting down cases on guys that were senior leaders of the U.S. Muslim Brotherhood and guys that were jihadis. And so in 2006, I put together the very first training in the government on who they are, what they're doing, what their doctrine is, and how to deal with them nationally and in the community, both as a policymaker, law enforcement at the local state level, and through the federal code, how to deal with these things. As a result of that, in 2008, I was recruited out of the Bureau to go work with the Department of Defense. And this is where, for me, it got pretty interesting. Because I was a captain in the Marine Corps when I left the Marines, which is not a very senior rank. And my whole career, minus a couple months at FBI headquarters, I was a special agent, investigating, arresting people, doing those kinds of things that agents do. And when I got over to DOD, they started having myself and my colleague that they had recruited out of the Pentagon, Steve Coughlin, who worked for the chairman, General Pace at the time. And we began, and we were the first ones to do it, briefing people inside the government on this threat and why we were losing the war despite the fact our military was crushing these people on the battlefield. It's because we had decided not to know why they were fighting, because they tell us, 100% of them, whether we're talking about Saudi Arabia or we're talking about Iran or we're talking about ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the people who are doing violence on the streets of Brussels or Italy or Spain or Boston.
By the way, if you don't know, they're fighting to create an Islamic State, worldwide Islamic State.
Or Garland, Texas, or wherever, they all say we're jihadis waging jihad in the cause of Allah to establish an Islamic State under Sharia. So I thought we needed to start there. So they had us briefing leaders, 3- and 4-star generals, the chairman of the Homeland Security and Intelligence Committees, former CIA, FBI, DIA directors. And what was stunning was nobody we briefed had any idea about what we were talking about. Their doctrine, the enemy's doctrine, how they were organized, what they were doing in Europe, Africa, the United States, none of it. What they were good at was finding people that pulled triggers and going after them. But I just want to say, and I'll say it again in a moment, the vast majority of this war that's being waged is in the non-violent realm. It is in the nonviolent realm. That's 90% of it. And the primary thing they seek to do is control the narrative. This is on both sides, the communist and the Islamic movement. And to ensure that the people who are supposed to be doing their job to destroy them, our enemies, don't know because they don't know who they are. Does that make sense? So can you flip the slide for me, please? So this is the question I'd like to answer in just the next few minutes. What is actually going on? Next slide. What you're experiencing right now and over the last couple years is the intentional outcome of a 100-year communist movement and a 60 or so year Islamic movement in the United States. And if you look at the history from the 1920s to today, the communists and the jihadis from the 1960s to today in the Islamic movement, they have a strategy, they have lines of operation, and they have thousands of organizations to achieve what they're doing. Over the last, and I'll just take the last 50 years, the United States has had no strategic response. And now we're having to respond at the local level when these communist policies are hitting you as a parent in the face. Because your government at the federal level is catastrophically clueless. And where they're not clueless, they're nefarious. They're actually aiding and abetting our enemies. And that's what's going on. So let's look at it real quick. When it comes to the communist movement, Marx created it, Lenin operationalized it, and Mao perfected it. And what do I mean? It is political warfare. It is total warfare at the social, cultural, military, information level. That's how they're waging war. Economic warfare on all lines of operation. And for 20 years, and you can go back farther, besides what we did with the Soviet Union, domestically, we have not addressed it. And so it's gone mostly unattended. Next slide, please. So when people say, hey, how bad is it in the federal government? Every component of the government is compromised badly. And here's just a couple little pieces of evidence for you. John Brennan, of course, admitted he voted for a communist for president right before he went into the CIA and became the director. That alone is evidence that there's corruption in the system. But James Comey, next slide, in 2003, in a New York Magazine article said, I'd move from communist to whatever I am now, not even sure how to characterize myself politically. Now, in a world where we're sane, that guy is booted out, investigated, and he never gets to be anywhere near the FBI. But he was the director, which means not only is he a bad guy, the people in the process that thought it was a good idea to make him that way did it intentionally. Do you see? And then we've got, next slide, our chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Yes, that is treason. He's telling you, I'm going to commit treason. So my only point here is, they're here. They have thousands of organizations, not just the ones you know about, like Black Lives Matter, Chinese Communist Organization, Antifa, Communist Party USA, Democratic Socialists of America, Code Pink, Answer, and on down the line. They're involved at all levels. And they're building tons of NGOs and nonprofits to support what they're doing. Next slide, please. And so they have a unified objective, which is communism. These people are not progressives or liberals. They're communists, and we have to talk about them in the language that defines them. And if that's too hard for you to swallow, guess what? I don't care. We're so far along in this war, and we're losing so badly. If you're offended, there's the door. Remember, the truth always offends those that don't have it. Next slide, please. Now, the Islamic movement has one objective, and that's to impose Sharia on everybody on the planet. If you don't know that or you don't agree with that, you're wrong. The Islamic movement, that's the Muslim Brotherhood logo there, and all the other Islamic movements, the military jihadi organizations like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, whatever, they all say it. And the international Muslim community at the head of state level is a party to the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Conference, the largest voting bloc in the UN. And they say, next slide, they say they're the collective voice of the Muslim world, and they are. Every year they come together, representatives from every Muslim nation, and they make decisions that are legally binding on the Muslim world. And every 3 years, the heads of state of every Muslim nation come together and meet and make decisions. Next slide. In 1990, they agreed and signed the Cairo Declaration on Human Rights for Islam. In 1993, they served it to the United Nations. And it says in the very last article, Islamic Sharia is the only source of reference for the explanation or clarification of any articles of this Declaration on Human Rights in Islam, which means the Muslim world has officially told the entire rest of the world that we believe Sharia is the only lens that we see is how we relate to you, which means if you're non-Muslim, you convert to Islam or you're killed.
Or you pay ridiculous amounts of money called jizya, and if you don't pay that, then you're going to be fought, become into a slave, or be killed.
That's Sharia. If you are a Christian, Jew, or Zoroastrian, you have a third choice, which is you submit to Islamic law, pay the non-Muslim poll tax, or be killed. If you don't think that's what Sharia says, you're wrong. There is no other version of authoritatively published and taught Islamic law on the planet. And by the way, they teach it right here in Dallas, Texas, in the local mosques and Islamic schools, because we have their books. And they teach what Al-Qaeda and ISIS teach. Why? Because it's a capital crime in Islam for a Muslim to teach another Muslim anything about Islam that's not true. So if you want to know what Islam is, just go buy one of the books in the mosque bookstore, I would use cash, and read what it says.
The reason why they teach it in the West is to prepare the ground for more people to come. It's a principle called hijrah. When Prophet Muhammad went from Mecca to Medina, that's when Islam started spreading. So the same thing applies to the West. You need to build a safe infrastructure for Muslims from around the world to migrate. In Islam, there's a sentence saying, Allah is with the patient. They know they have to be patient until Sharia comes to the US, until Sharia comes to Canada, until Sharia comes to Europe. They know they have to be patient. But we are heading there in giant footsteps.
Next slide, please. Now, here in Dallas, Texas, the largest terrorism financing trial in American history was launched, and it demonstrated that, in fact, all of the prominent Islamic organizations are hostile and a part of this movement. So we have these two massive movements. Here's what I want to share with you. Understanding the Threat, and our website's understandingthethreat.com. We are the only organization giving you tools and empowering you to actually identify these networks at the local level and to crush them and flush them out of your community. So we build the teams through our Into Action training program. Then we help you plan and we help you execute whatever it is you're doing, aggressively or not, always lawfully, to win the war. Is that something we'd like to do? So I encourage you to go to understandingthethreat.com, come see us at our table out here, organize your community into teams, and we will help you do this. And we will train you how to do it, and we will show you how to flush the influencers. And even the people that are not communist or jihadis, the people supporting and funding them for other reasons, they're part of the problem. So be a part of the solution. Take the fight to the enemy and put freedom back on the offensive where it belongs. Thank you, and God bless you.
Great initiative. there's something you have to remember. The imams sitting at the mosque, preaching to the Muslim community, going to the mosque, are considered to be Islamist. They believe that Islam should be spread through violence, yet they don't even lay a finger on anybody. They just preach. And they know that someone will take measures into their own hands and commit jihad against non-Muslims. We see it in Washington, D.C. against the Zionists. We see it in Boulder, Colorado against the Zionists. It's all part of a big plan. Islamic control will come here whether you like it or not. The question is, how soon can you wake up to prevent this threat from coming to the US? Now is the time. They're literally preaching about this at mosques around the world, not only in Muslim countries. So saying, nah, it's not going to happen, is just remaining blind to the facts. So wake up, take action, do what this former FBI agent said, and prevent Sharia from coming to the US. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to support me financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links in the description. Please join the Discord and please join our new Discord in the link below, and you can become a YouTube member and enjoy specific YouTube perks. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.